Are you a business owner looking for real advice and input? You're in the right place. From concept to launch to growth, funding, and beyond. Welcome to Startup Hustle with your hosts. One once sold a business for $150 million. The other, the author of $1 Million Bedroom. Here are your hosts of Startup Hustle, Matt DeCoursey and Matt Watson.
1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1. 'Cause no one can do it like we do it, like we do it, like we do it.
And we're back. Another episode of Startup Hustle. Matt DeCoursey here with Matt Watson. Hi, Matt.
What's going on?
I'm still in awe.
Really?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, while today we will speak of a FilmDove, I feel like I don't even know what kind of animal to compare you to with your leaping skills.
Something flying like a dove.
For those, you were beyond flight, my friend. And for those of you that want to know what the hell I'm talking about, go to the Startup Hustle podcast Instagram and watch the video of Matt Watson leaping like a frog slash
over the giant Jenga.
Yes, I still can't believe that you made it, and I still can't believe you cleaned out my wallet.
I should
afterward.
be. You did. I got $1 out of you.
I know.
You got $1 in your wallet. I should have fired the money gun afterwards.
You should have fired the money gun while you were jumping.
I think so. Can we do this again?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
We'll do this again.
Now, fortunately, I did capture that on film, and it was one of my better all-time filmmaking experiences. And because I'm so excited about it, I thought we'd bring today's guest in to see what we can do to promote my independent film. So with us today, I've got Brandon Dunlap, who is the CEO and founder of FilmDove. Brandon, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
You saw the video.
I did see it.
You think it's going to go big?
It's impressive.
It is.
Yeah, we should probably get Matt signed up for the NFL Combine.
I think we should just sign him up for all the combines, like NBA, NFL.
I was going to say, I'm going straight NBA. I got ups.
No. Yeah. He's like, what did I have? Like a 27-inch vertical. I was like, dude, that's not really like
I'm dunking on LeBron.
It's not like a big at 5'8" with a 27-inch vertical, you can probably nip the bottom of the net. Yeah.
I can touch top of his head, maybe.
So now for those of you listening, you know I like it when you're interactive. Once you go to filmdove.com and check out what they do, it'll help you understand what the hell we're talking about today. While you're on the internet, go over to fullscale.io where you can see what we can do to help you build a software development team quickly and affordably. Now, Brandon, tell us about FilmDove. What are you guys doing over there?
What's up? Well, FilmDove is a passion project. It's built to help filmmakers promote their projects, and so just a little bit about myself. I'm a film enthusiast. I love film. Some of my favorite filmmakers are Terrence Malick, of course, the ones you've heard of, Ridley Scott and Christopher Nolan. But the premise of FilmDove is to help filmmakers promote their projects through data analysts. And so being able to ingest your film into our platform, and it provides you with data points and cognition that allows you to promote your project to a distributor or an investor. A lot of independent filmmakers, they make their projects, but then afterwards they're not quite sure what to do with their work and how to get in front of the right people. So what our platform does is it provides analytics that enables them to say, hey, within potential target markets or demographics, the opportunity for my film to be successful is X amount, or things like that. And so they can take that and package that and put that in front of distributors and investors. And FilmDove, what it also does is it provides some cognition. So, for example, when you ingest your film into our platform, it actually does a sentiment on your film. Provides kind of an overview of, if this is a genre of the genre that it's in, drama, comedy, things like that. But it also allows you to get these emotional sentiments in the film so that particular points in the movie, you can go back and, for example, if you're looking for sad, or if you're looking for happy, or if you're looking for keywords or product placement, our system allows you to go back and do those types of searches.
Oh, wow.
I feel like all of so much of that. So we'll use my video of Watson jumping as an example, which had some drama.
Yeah.
Because I was positive he wasn't going to make it.
Yeah.
I really was. I literally, in the beginning, I didn't play the sound. You hear me saying, this isn't a good idea. As he's taking a second step. So I want to market that and so that would be a tag that would in there would
Sure.
be drama, action, sports,
Yep.
winning,
Yep.
Injury.
So you guys are doing a lot with like machine learning, computer vision kind of stuff to
We are.
analyze every frame of the movie,
Yes. Yeah.
which is pretty cool.
Yep. Yep. And so we do the analyst, we go through and, so as we talk about this later, as we talk about the business model of FilmDove, it's, to give filmmakers opportunity to get sponsorship as well. So if we put product placement into or filmmakers put product placement into their films, it allows them to go through and say, hey, with the analytic engine, we can see how many times a company's product showed up in their film, right?
Okay.
And they can use that as, fodder to get sponsorship as well.
So Adidas.
Yep.
Were your shoes?
Yep.
Were you wearing that Stackify jacket? I know someone.
It
there.
was, yeah.
Okay. So, but those are the kind of things. That's
Yeah.
product placement, right?
Product placement, yes.
Okay.
So is the primary use case for, uploading this, hour and a half long film or whatever, and then analyzing different scenes and
Yeah.
moods and emotions? I mean, is that the primary reason they use it, or is it for then taking this giant video and then sending it to all these other people in the industry?
It's the latter there, Matt. It's taking that giant video and sending it to the industry. And part of that is the value add, though. So, for example, if you are a distributor and you're looking for content, well, you can actually go through our platform, use the analytic engine, and look at particular scenes in the movie. You can look for particular product placement in the film. You can look for also that we're incorporating a feedback engine as well with qualified critics, where they actually go through after they viewed the initial upload in the product. They go through and do a kind of an initial screening of the film as well. So packaging that up along with the data analytics and putting that in front of a distributor or investor to give filmmakers the best opportunity of promoting their projects.
Well, so movie files would be a giant file.
Yes.
So today, how do they do this today? If you have a film and you want to send it to people, obviously you're not going to upload it to YouTube or something.
Yeah. Well, today, Vimeo is one of the things that's being used. You can
In a
share
private-
that.
in a private
it's in
way.
a private way. There's not. It doesn't provide you with any analytics on your film. It's just basically a way to upload your film and share it with others.
Okay.
So the main solution that the problem you're solving with FilmDove is, I would imagine, is that the people that make these films are filmmakers. They're not marketers.
That's correct.
And, like we run into that a lot. And I think that's a common, whether you're a filmmaker or a software founder or
Yeah.
like a personal trainer, a lot of people get into whatever it is that they're doing and they try to make a business out of it, but they don't necessarily know a whole lot about business.
That's exactly it.
They're passionate about something and they know that's what they want to do and they're trying to make a living with it. And it's like, it's like this, so they're not necessarily, and then I would imagine in film, it's also pretty tricky. I gotta feel like that's probably a lot about who you know or who you can get to pay attention. And, I know one of the books that I wrote, one of the guys I interviewed, Vincent
Sure.
Boucher, was he's a stylist for all kinds of famous people like Terry Hatcher, and a bunch of them.
Yeah.
And, I was talking to him once. He's my aunt's brother, whatever that makes him to me. But he was talking about Hollywood, and he's telling me some story going into some place, and there's just like scripts, like you could have like built a whole house out of them. And it's like, how do you find yours in that stack?
Yeah.
And so there's so much, and especially with the modern, anyone can make a film.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say anyone make it. I don't want to dumb it down
I
like
think
that.
that's a
But
great question.
but you can theoretically try.
I think that's a great question. How many films are made, like feature length films, movies, but are never distributed?
A lot.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to differentiate the good content from the bad content, because at the end of the day, content is still king.
Because I invested in a movie.
You did?
Yeah, it's like an angel investment. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. This was like many years ago. And they filmed it. They did the whole thing. They even got a couple like C-list actors and actresses to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And they never got any distribution. And I think it ended up on Netflix and probably like 3 people watched it.
Well, I would think that would be another thing, because the world of movie distribution and content consumption has changed so dramatically.
Not just anybody gets their movie.
Yeah,
at
you
AMC.
look
Right.
what The Irishman, that came straight out on Netflix, right?
Yeah.
And that got an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Like, and is that the first time that's happened?
Probably not.
I don't know.
that it went straight to Netflix and got an Oscar?
No, I don't think
that's
so.
happened for a couple years
Yeah, I
now.
don't think
Okay,
so.
well, here's my point. A couple years
Yeah.
isn't really like the history of film, but that shows you that's a signal flare that some things have changed.
Yeah.
And so I would imagine that, and some things too, I don't know, you look at all right, what was that documentary, Blackfish, about the whales at SeaWorld? That, I don't think that ever came out in theaters, but that probably got massive viewership.
Yeah.
So how do you find a video like that? And that would be part of what FilmDove would be trying to help people with, right?
Yeah, when you think about FilmDove and the premise of this project, it really is to empower independent filmmakers to give them the best opportunity of promoting their work. When you look at the industry, you see a lot of kind of maybe some of the same, rehash of prior projects, either sequels or prequels. And there's a lot of good ideas out there. They just don't, have the financing and the ability to get the projects out there that they need to. And it's to me, it's, FilmDove is a way to identify the talented filmmakers and help them get their projects, showcased to the right people. And just for example, we're working with a filmmaker now, and used to be a producer on the First 48, and her project, it talks about the racial divide in a particular city, and what it really does is it pricks the consciousness of people to really think about just our society and our community as a whole, and then the things that really challenge us as human beings is not necessarily all the differences that we think that we have, but sometimes maybe it's just our heart towards things, and her film kind of touches on that. And I think a lot of those types of films kind of really help, prick the consciousness of people to look at things a little bit different. For example, there's a virtual reality film that was done about the children of Syria and how they, were exiled into different countries. And basically, it's a virtual reality film. You put on a headset and it allows you to live the day in the life of a Syrian refugee, Syrian refugee as you go to school, things like that. And so, what better way to connect people to something outside of their own world than to experience these type of things? And these are the type of filmmakers that we're looking to empower, to be able to tell stories that are ethereal, ethereal stories that really touch on the heart of humanity and the things that kind of plague us as a race and things like that. So that's part of the mission of FilmDove is yes, we want to have a broad component as far as all the movies that we ingest into the project, but we really want to help highlight those filmmakers that are truly doing things that cause people to think a little bit deeper about their existence and their reality.
Pretty cool stuff.
It's deep. Is it?
So
was the movie you invested in that deep? And how did I never find out about this until now?
No, it was about some murder mystery thing about being friends with somebody on Facebook. Next thing you know, they were going to kill you or something.
It sounds like some of my ex-girlfriends. Did she star in the film?
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, okay. I'll watch it. I'll check it out.
But so your goal is to help get more visibility and attention to these movies.
That's correct.
Right.
Yep.
But how do people, if you're somebody in the industry, and I don't even know the right terminology for this, how do they have possibly the time to review all these movies?
That's what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 2-hour-long movies. How do you watch a whole bunch
it's the
of
same
2-hour-long
thing
movies
like in
every day?
music, you have
Right.
A&R reps.
Yeah.
Like an A&R rep is that all they do is go to shows and listen to demos.
And that's part of your goal.
Is that the same thing in film?
Yeah, so I can explain this to you a little bit. A lot of times, the way filmmakers they gain traction is through the film festival circuit as well. So our platform will also have a film festival component where we're helping to match filmmakers to film festivals. And once they gain traction in the film festival circuit, it goes through where qualified judges and screeners, they review those films, they rank those films. Part of our platform is going to have audience feedback as well. So when those screenings are taking place in the film festivals, we'll gather that audience feedback, we'll gather the qualified critic feedback, and then we'll use that as a package for filmmakers to promote their projects to distributors and investors. And so that's
crowdsourcing it.
Yeah. So
it's
basically it's almost like, if you think about it, it's like gamification for a filmmaker.
So do you now, is this all a web platform, or
Yes.
Now are you going to have an app or something like that for the gathering the feedback?
Yes, we are. And so we're actually working with a filmmaker here locally. We're going to be helping her with her private screening here in about a week and a half. and we're going to be gathering feedback from the audience to kind of help us streamline our technology process.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I have some bad news, Matt.
Uh-oh.
The early feedback is in, and
Oh,
your video, it's not trending well, man.
no Oscar for me.
No, it's the hashtag dad bod, hashtag not going pro.
Oh, come on.
And then there are a bunch of hashtags that say awesome.
Okay.
So yeah. And I don't know, what's this little brown triangle looking emoji thing?
Oh, the poop emoji.
Oh man. Yeah. I think it's probably because they're like,
I'm the
man,
shit.
yeah.
I'm the shit.
I know. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. This is
That's
the
what I was
shit.
thinking. But that's the power of feedback, man. We
Damn
can
critics.
we can put this out now. I think this is cool, Brandon. And I think that and I don't even know if you know this. So I worked in the music industry for a while.
I do know that.
It's difficult for whether it's a musician or a filmmaker. These are creatives and in different categories. But that's one of the things that over that technology has made it so much easier. Well, take this podcast, for example. We've had listeners in 190 countries.
Yeah.
We're not using high technology in here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's grown up a little bit. I mean, we've got some cameras, we have some mics, we have a computer and a soundboard, but I mean, I didn't have to put a second mortgage on the house or anything like that. And we're able to leverage existing platforms, to get our stuff out. And
Sure.
We're the king of all media now.
Totally. Yeah. We're number one. Yeah. Poop emoji.
Yeah. I feel like Howard Stern should be sitting right there.
He couldn't
come
make
on.
it. I know it's an empty seat.
We have Mickey Mouse instead.
And Lego Voltron, who doesn't say a whole lot. But no, I think that, but
He
talk
does
about
look a bit threatening though.
but with the music industry, things like SoundCloud, were just even early were an easy distribution method for a lot of indie musicians to get their stuff out. And, it's hard to make money as a performer.
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's hard to make money as a filmmaker too, because, the cameras are expensive, even more so expensive than musical gear.
Cameras aren't expensive anymore.
The kind that Johnny just walked in and is taking a picture
not
with
compared to what they usually use in Hollywood, and they'll spend $500,000 on the film.
That's true, but still the thing is a lot of those cameras are still 5, 10, 15 grand sometimes.
But not $500,000.
No, they're not $500,000, but dude, if you're a starving artist, 15 grand's a hell of a lot. And then you probably need more than one. You don't just have a camera when you're on a film set.
If you're
maybe
good,
you do.
if you're good, you
cameras.
only need one.
So,
That's true. That's true.
but
For my big scene, we had one camera.
wrong.
Actually, we had two.
We had two. See,
And they were two cheap ass cameras.
They were on iPhones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the lighting was poor. And that's the thing is you get into needing more stuff. And it's the same thing with music. When I first started working for Roland, a digital recorder, dude, these things were huge. And now they're basically the size of a phone.
Yeah.
And you look at the difference and what they do the same thing. Yeah. But the ability to get this kind of independent media out is it really in a golden age. So,
but in all seriousness, the cost of a really nice 4K camera is so affordable now that almost anybody could make a movie.
Yes. But when you get to the level of if you're going to, I don't know. I think that there's still a line between, and that's where it gets to. All right. So I was actually talking to my wife about this. So, Apple Plus has their new stuff. Yeah. And we had watched the show, The Servant, which is M. Night. How do you say it? Shyamalan. My wife had said something. She's like, man, they did this really well. I'm surprised that they can take what would have or could have been a movie a few years ago and put it out here. And I said, well, I don't think there's something you're not noticing. She said, what? I said, this whole entire show is in 3 different rooms of the same house. Mm-hmm. And that's how they can afford to do that. It basically had 4 or 5 different characters in the whole thing. Yeah. And the whole entire thing was set in one simple
They
townhouse.
didn't spend millions of dollars on sets.
Right. And extras and stuff like that. And that's probably what runs up the bill on an independent film. Am I correct?
That is correct. When you think about independent filmmakers, they're no different from really an entrepreneur. You need to find a way to get investment for your project. You need to get a way to showcase your project. You have a budget to manage. And so a lot of these filmmakers, you touched on it earlier, Matt, they don't really know. I mean, they know how to make films, but then the whole business part of it, they're not really that familiar with. And so what our platform is intended to do is to kind of help bridge the gap for these filmmakers so that they can kind of use the analytics piece of this platform to bridge the gap on the business front. And so they can say, hey, we package FilmDove, package our film through FilmDove and take all the analytics and we can go start shopping this around to investors. It's no different from what we do for FilmDove as a company. If you're trying to grow a company, you have to get investment capital to help grow and accelerate. It's really no different from a filmmaker. And
let's talk about that for a second, because recently you were just awarded a grant from Digital Sandbox.
That's correct.
Which is a local organization here in Kansas City that helps businesses like yours.
Yep. Was
that the first time you had applied to them?
That was.
Okay, because a lot of people apply like 3 or 4 times, but the purpose of that, and we've had Jeff Shackelford in here, and I don't think, is Jeff still involved? I think he moved on.
I think he moved on.
So, but basically, you give your pitch, and a lot of times they'll tell you, they'll be like, "This is what you're missing. Try again next time." And there's a lot of people that have actually been here on the podcast that have said, "Well, I tried. I got it on the 3rd time." But let's talk a little bit about that process, because that's a clever way to continue funding what you're doing. Give us a little insight on how you got into that, how you found it, and how you actually got them to write you a check.
Yeah, sure. I mean, so the process for us, it's been, 2 years in the making. So we've been creating, pitch decks, and we operated another consulting company by the name of Northern Sky. And so we kind of had been preparing for a year and a half before that, before we got the opportunity to pitch in front of Digital Sandbox. And we had pitched it maybe 10 times before that time. And so we packaged our pitch. We fine-tuned it before the Digital Sandbox engagement. Coincidentally enough, one of our potential investors recommended that we apply there. We got in, and then we was able to pitch. And that's kind of how we fine-tuned it. And, I think we didn't go in with a vanilla stale pitch either. I mean, we showed a little bit of passion around this because, for us, it's not, yes, this is a business. We want to make money and we want to grow. But at the same time, this is something that we're truly passionate about as far as empowering filmmakers to really promote their projects. And so that's how we went about that. We put in the work, we put in the effort, and that's, hopefully that was kind of one of the reasons why Digital Sandbox extended funding to us.
Has anything, that just occurred, right? Just a few months ago.
Back in October.
So has that helped you gain any traction with other investors? And we don't have to get too.
Yes.
Yeah,
it has.
Yeah. Well, but these things are important because, whether you're paying for it yourself, it's one thing to pay for it yourself. It's another thing to get this kind of validation.
Yeah.
So Matt, you and I have a history of kind of, when we say bootstrapping, I don't know if it's really bootstrap. We're writing our own checks. Right? At one point, we were both very bootstrapped, made a couple bucks, and then used that later to parlay into other things that we did. Fair?
Yeah, and it's funny. Sometimes I talk to VCs and they're like, "Congratulations on bootstrapping Stackify," and I'm like, "No, I've invested a lot of money in this. I just don't have a VC investor."
Yeah, and now, but the thing is, and one thing I learned, because I've written my own checks along the way as well, and is that no one cares when you write your own checks as much as when you get other money and validation. And it's and you can't actually. I remember with GigaBook talking to a potential investor at one point and saying, I've put in $500,000 or whatever, and they're like, you can't make a valuation based on your own check writing, but you get it from someone else or these other things. And it's kind of like Boy Scout badges or leveling up your character on a video game. Yeah. And, you get a badge here, you get a little boost here and this and that. And it starts to create a more powerful story. Yep. And, whether you're in Kansas City or wherever you're at, whether you're in Stuttgart, Germany, or Thailand, running a bakery, or these are some people that have been kind enough to reach out from around the world.
Very nice.
But, there is something near you that you can get involved with, that you can be involved in the startup community, and you're going to have different levels of stuff. But find it. It's not going to find you.
Yeah.
The Digital Sandbox did not reach out to you, did
No.
Yes. You have to go through that.
a lot of people, when it comes to entrepreneurship, they think it's like this grand kind of reality, and the truth of the matter is it's a lot of hard work. You got to be willing to sacrifice your time. You got to be willing to sacrifice a lot of times your own money and hours of sleep. And you really have to go for it. And no one's going to do this for you. You have to go out and get it yourself. And so whether that's going out, reaching out, getting customers, making contact with your potential customer base, all those different things, you're going to have to do that yourself, and you got to put in the work. And one of the things that we're doing now is working with our actual customers, and that's filmmakers. We're not building a solution that we think that filmmakers want. We are building a solution that we're getting direct feedback from our end user, our customer, and that's
thank God somebody does this the right way,
dude. I got to be honest with you. I was just sitting here thinking, if I had, so this is my only sound effect. That's all I got. But I'm sitting here thinking, man, I needed like a ding ding, like a bell, because
it's a thing that nobody does.
But I'm going to do a replay. I'll rewind here a second since we're playing with film stuff. That's the rewind sound, because I have no better sound effects. Hint to producers to find sound effects. You mentioned entrepreneurship's not hard. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It'll test every bit of your.
That's why we call it the startup hustle.
Your fortitude. And then I think the thing that everyone should listen to that Brandon said that is really key is figure out what your end user wants.
Yeah.
Like ask, let them use it. I burnt through a lot of cash building GigaBook trying to think of things that people wanted before I found out. And then like half of those things no one ever used.
Yeah.
And I look back and I'm like, wow, time, money, effort, opportunity cost, all stacked up. And then, and whether it's ugly in the beginning or it's just a beta, or you're just like, say, hey man, will you use it? One of Fullscale's clients actually reached out to me yesterday and said, hey man, we're going to launch our MVP. This is something I think your company would actually benefit from, but would you be willing to ask some of your employees to try it? I said, hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Cause it is actually something I'm interested in. It's a management platform to help create happier. It's like an employee feedback system. I was like, that's actually something we've been wanting to integrate anyway, but that's all you have to do is ask. You never know like where that's going to come from. And some people I think up front, they're like, I got to try to monetize this. I'm like, dude, no one's going to pay you shit if it sucks. So let some people use it for free and see what they have to say.
And the most important thing that he mentioned that got me excited was talking to the customers, figuring out what the customers really want.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the whole point. Yeah.
So many software developers, product people, they just focus on building what they think needs to be built, and they don't talk to actual customers.
Yeah. And that's the whole point.
That's so important.
Smart.
Yeah. And one thing I like to add, so in my prior life, I was a consultant, and digital transformation consultant. And one of the things I was able to discover was that, digital transformation is a booming business. I mean, let's
define what that is.
It's digital transformation is basically how you create technology value to improve customer experience. And, when you look at Gartner and Forrester, some of the leading market analysis, they're forecasting that digital transformation is going to be $1 trillion industry in the next 2 years. Cloud is booming. Microsoft and AWS, these companies that had prior business models that completely changed, kind of how they're operating and introducing cloud-based technology. They're starting to really, see record profits, record numbers. And I'm saying all that to say is that the companies that are going to succeed in the future are going to be the ones that actually focus on their customers, not the ones that focus on themselves. And so one of the things we're trying to do is
that goes way past digital transformation though. Like, I mean, even like Fullscale's a tech services company, and like, that's the whole thing. It's like, and we've even just recently all of a sudden we have 200 employees.
Yeah.
And, it's like your changing needs come with that. And you can't be afraid to, in some ways, I'll say, force that evolution.
Yeah.
Because it's about being client centric. If our clients aren't successful with what they're doing, then they're not going to stay clients. It's like a really simple equation, but at the same time, getting to that is always is ridiculously complex, especially when you get people involved.
Yeah.
Software, you can just tell it what to do. And if you know what you're doing, you will eventually figure out how to make it do that. But when you're dealing with people, it's even harder.
Yeah.
Customer service, customer success are always priority number one.
Yeah.
You know, at Stackify, our customer success team is by far one of the most important components of our business.
I want to add something onto that, though. That as an entrepreneur, you have to be careful with that, because a lot of us, at least in my age, we're taught the customer's always right. I'm going to be honest, I don't believe that. Because I look at, you have to, especially early, we've had a couple users at GigaBook that have been so high maintenance that we've actually told them, I don't think this is the right platform for you to use.
Yeah.
Right.
We had two different people that at one point were 80% of the entire customer like support ticket intake in a given month.
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, that's how needy you are. And you have to look at some of that stuff. And these are people that were both paying $15 a month.
Yeah.
We were losing significant money trying to keep these people happy. And no matter what we did, they were just people that were never going to be happy. And I think that the customer support and client success are different.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying offer shitty support, but sometimes, you know, there are things that you have to be aware of. Like, and we do that at Full Scale too, because we look at the people that work at Full Scale they're our greatest asset. And they're the ones that provide service. They're the ones that generate revenue. And we've had a couple clients along the way that, haven't always been as cool as we've wanted. And we try to get real protective about that, because if our company's assets bail, it's hard to replace them.
Yeah. Well, see, you're talking about a great topic I wanted to talk to Brandon about. So obviously,
is it about cheating on the ratings on your video?
No, we'll get there. But so one of the things talked about is you build a product, you build a company, you think you're going to solve one problem, and you can have customers come in and they try and steer you a different way, right?
Yeah.
And so, for example, somebody could come to Brandon and say, "Hey, you guys can analyze a video. That's pretty cool. We have all these porn videos. Can you analyze our porn videos and tell us about the scenes in them?" And he could be like, "No, that's not our company mission." Or he'd be like, "You know what? They want to pay me a lot of money. Maybe I should do this. I'm going to change the whole pivot. I'm pivoting. I'm going to do this now." Right. So my question for you is,
are you asking for a friend?
No. My question for you, though,
just
is
making sure.
You've built some pretty cool technology. Can you leverage this film analysis for other purposes?
You can.
I mean,
not hot dog. I see where you're going.
Is there legitimately, though? I mean, could you work with, say, Rotten Tomatoes or IMDb and say, look, we're going to analyze all these films and we can provide all these cool analytics. Is there something else to do there? I mean, are there other opportunities to do what you've done?
Yeah. I mean, diversification of the business model, those opportunities are there with what we've built. To be honest, though, I mean, the thing that we're trying to focus on is understanding what the primary value stream is to the customer. And understanding what that primary value stream is and focusing on that and getting a market with that. And then as we start to, of course, grow and expand, diversify out to other models. But I think one of the lessons I've learned is you can try to do too many things at once. And you can't really be a jack of all trades because
you're good at one thing.
Which is absolutely right.
Yeah.
Right. But this is also part of the journey of a startup, right?
Yeah.
You do this, you're like, okay, we built this tool and we think we're going to sell it to these people. Then sometimes you come back, you're like, look, this tool we built was actually the most valuable thing.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to sell this tool to somebody else.
That is true.
I have a comment on this as well. So at 3 years into GigaBook, John Berman, who was one of the people that helped me found it, he said to me, Matt, you're always talking about wanting to have this be a platform that can be turned into doing a number of different things. He goes, I got to tell you right now, that's not what we're building. And he explained to me in a very technical way. He was like, this is why we have these problems. This is that. And I'm sitting here looking at that, and I was a couple $100,000 into it at this point. And I was like, shit. And I said, well, what do we need to do? He said, we're going to have to restructure this whole thing into MVC framework, model view control, which basically is a technical word for we're going to have to tear it down and put it back together. Mm-hmm. But he said, when you be able to do that, you will be able to accomplish the things that I think you're going to want to do a couple years down the road. So we did that, and it was expensive. But now at this point, GigaBook actually generates more revenue from other things we've morphed it into. We've turned it into other types of platforms and created partnerships. Yeah. We have licensed so you look at like what we built, and it was a shortcut to getting other types of platforms to where they needed to be. Like you say, okay, look, what you need to do It's going to take you X amount of time and X amount of dollars to build. I can license this to you for $100,000 and put you right there. You're still going to have to do work. You're still going to have to do that. But
Sure.
That's an example of trying to have some forward thinking. It's like, what can this do that might, you look, all right, so Roy at Healthy Hip Hop, where we've made a significant investment, that's a content delivery network that can deliver stuff into schools. Theoretically, if we wanted, that could turn into content delivery for training on a corporate level. It could do a whole lot of different things, because once you build the shell, what you or the paint by numbers, what you fill it up with and how you shape it can be different. So,
and that's actually a good example. Take Healthy Hip Hop has like 200 videos they've made, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to guess they probably don't know which video is about what, and if it's animated or not animated, and the scenes and the music. And
I think they do. I think they do because there's a small number of them. But when there's 12,000 of them, that might be a completely.
But even at a couple hundred, potentially
Yeah.
you feed something that into like a system, like FilmDove. It's not what FilmDove's designed for, but like being able to manage the video, like the content. I mean,
did you want to listen to some Healthy Hip Hop?
Dude, I have been listening to some PJ Panda.
Have you?
Yeah.
Have you heard Healthy Hip Hop?
I've actually met Roy.
Yeah. So now that's an example. You talk about just reaching out, and the more people so we've invested pretty significantly in that. We own just under 20%, and we provided all of the technical resources to build everything he's got.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, that was a risk, because I mean, even Roy will tell you at the point, like, people in Kansas City weren't putting money into that. And I just kind of got it.
Yeah.
And I still wasn't like, but doing an initial investment and 2 options later, he's in Techstars Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all of a sudden I even told Matt, I was like, doesn't look so bad now, does it? but you never know. But you got to just try to find people that believe in what you're doing. So is there any instance of that? Because I've talked to you about this a long time ago.
We did, probably about a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And that's been how long? And so at 1.5 entrepreneur years is like, it's like dog years. That's like 12 real people years. What's something over this last year and a half? What's a punch in the face or the video where Watson doesn't make it over the Jenga blocks? Like what's something that you really learned, or something that really aged you quickly?
Well, yeah, it's that one of the things I just touched on, which is the customer discovery, and not taking the time out to talk to the customers and building things that you think that should come to market, and not what the customer thinks should come to market. The other thing is we're a team of engineers, and we come from a background of enterprise engineering. And one of the things we did when our first stages with FilmDove is that I think we overly engineered it. I mean, we had pretty much state of the art, everything you can think of, Docker, Kubernetes, clustering. And we were using things that were just maybe a bit too complex at the time. And instead of just starting small, just getting like a basic.
Make it work.
Yeah.
Did that make it hard because everything you just described makes me think that you also like upped the talent requirements for anybody that would work on it, which quite honestly is going to stretch your budget a little bit. I'm not saying use cheap, but you mentioned over engineering, and Watson's over here going, just make it work.
Make it work.
Yeah. No one cares about the elegance of your code in year 1, people.
Well, and
they
then,
don't.
And then having,
or year 10.
Didn't you sell a
Still
company
don't
for
care.
like $150 million and they didn't even look at any documentation?
They never looked at the code.
So yes, you did do that, and no, they didn't look at the code.
Correct.
Right.
And our code sucked.
yeah.
By the way, that's my point, though.
Yeah.
But did it work?
It worked.
Okay, that's all that
It
matters.
had duct tape in it. It had bubble gum. It did not use Kubernetes because that didn't even exist.
Guess what?
Right.
But it didn't use any of the cool stuff.
I have one important question. Did it
the
work?
check clear? Yes.
Did it work?
Right.
Did it work?
It worked.
Okay, but that's my point, right?
And that was the problem. I mean, we had infrastructure as code, and we were trying to build out this comprehensive CI/CD pipeline for all these different things we wanted to do, automated deployments, and it's like, yeah, we don't need that right now. We just need to we just need to be able to deploy directly to the app service and get it working.
Sometimes you mean wait, let me check up on. So actually, putting your hand on a mouse and clicking something on a screen is way cheaper than trying to spend $10,000 to automate it in the
That's
beginning.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted
More importantly,
wanted
it's
to make
all
sure.
those hours you could have used actually improving the product.
Well, that's
Exactly.
that's the point.
That's
And
the thing.
Matt, you say this a lot. I use the term opportunity cost a lot. Matt will just say, hey, when you choose to do one thing, you're choosing to not do another. And when resources are finite, you got to figure this shit out pretty early. Speaking of figuring stuff out, it's time to play Mixtape. Have you played Mixtape before?
I have not.
You're going to love this because everyone loves this. He didn't notice the money gun, and Brandon is hungry to fire that thing.
Well,
Am
he's
I
got to
right?
win. He's got to
I
win.
know. I'm going to get the camera ready just in case.
Okay,
So,
what are we doing here?
Mixtapethegame.com. The app's available on iOS and Android. I have pulled a card from the Mixtape deck. I'm going to read a scenario. We're all going to name a song. There's no wrong answer unless you're Watson, and then there sometimes is. You can't answer a band.
Okay.
Okay. You've taken a lot of shit about that. But it
Yes,
helps
it's
establish
okay.
the rules. Your heavyweight championship of the world walkout music. I still think it's Mama Said Knock You Out.
I'm going to go with Marvin Gaye. Let's get it on.
That's a good answer.
Uh,
I kind of want to be inappropriate and since it's FilmDove, go with R. Kelly's I Believe I Can Fly, but I know R. Kelly's way taboo now. The song shouldn't be.
yeah, I'm gonna probably go with Rick Ross Trilla.
I'm actually going to vote for you, Watson.
Oh.
I am because I just think that would be a funny ass song to hear Mike Tyson walk out to or someone. Let's get it on. You got the vote, buddy.
Maybach music.
I'm going to go with Mama Said Knock You Out.
It looks like Brandon Dunlap's got the deciding vote here.
Yeah.
It also means you're not going to win because you can't vote for yourself.
We can go with LL Cool J.
Good. I'm gonna
We'll do that.
because I'm glad Brandon's here. I'm gonna let you fire the money.
Knock
gun.
him out with the money gun.
All right, let's check this thing out.
Let that thing loose.
Woo!
Okay, good. That was good radius there. You got a wide spread. That was excellent. All right. If you want to see Mr. Dunlap firing the Golden Supreme Money Gun, that will be on the at Startup Hustle podcast. Man, you got a $2 bill all the way over to me. Good job, man.
They still make those.
And I can still take this to Las Vegas next week?
Sure.
Yeah, this is
About
probably-
half of our guests ask if they can keep the money, and then they realize it's $27. All right. Well, Brandon, I want to thank you for coming in. I like FilmDove, man. I think it's cool.
Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
I'm interested to see where this grows. I'm trying to think of. I know some people, and you get a lot of crossover with things like music and movies and stuff like that.
And we're outside of the Kansas City market as well. I mean, we made some connections with some folks in LA and Las Vegas as well. So we're going to be actually helping a film festival in Las Vegas in July, with also some of their audience feedback as well to help improve some of our technology process.
I'm thinking we should probably go to that film festival in Vegas, man.
Well, after
Vegas.
today, you're going global.
Yeah.
Nice.
True.
Yeah.
True. Brandon, once again, thanks for coming in. I want to encourage everyone to go to filmdove.com, check out what they're doing, tell your friends. Everyone knows a filmmaker or someone trying to do something creative.
Yeah.
I would imagine that you can probably help a lot of people do a lot of things. So we like to end episodes of Startup Hustle with what we call the Founders Freestyle, and it's time for that. And we often talk about many things in many ways, and it could be a chance to resolve anything, give advice, or just really, like I said, it's a freestyle. So I'll let you go ahead and lead off.
Yeah. To the people probably listening to this, the thing I would say is just really be passionate about what you're doing. Understand that the thing that you're going after is not going to be easy. Be hungry, be tenacious. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to punch you in the face. They're going to make you think about what you're doing. It's challenging kind of your thought process on why you're going after what you're going after, but never give up. I believe that, we're not just here randomly, just, live our 80 year life and die. I believe we all have purpose. And, for the folks that are going after your thing, just go after it with all your heart and all your might, and never give up. and put a good team around you, people that you can depend on, people that kind of have a shared vision. You can't go at this alone. Understand when to get rest, understand when to turn it off and get some sleep, and worry about your sanity and things like that, and keep believing in yourself. No one's going to believe in you. You can pitch your project. People may not necessarily understand what it is you're pitching. They may not get it at the time, but believe in yourself, believe in your project, that's the end of my freestyle.
Mr. Watson.
Yeah, I think FilmDove today is an example of a couple things I wanted to point out. Obviously, a big part of what FilmDove does has to do with video management and analysis and video distribution, different things. And some people might look at that and say, well, why wouldn't I just use YouTube? Why wouldn't I use Vimeo? Why wouldn't I use one of these things? And the point is, you're trying to build something that's really unique, custom to a specific use case. And it's no different than like a CRM system. You could use Salesforce.com. That's a CRM, right? Why couldn't you use that for all the things? Well, for a car dealer, that would be a shitty solution.
Yeah.
An industry-specific solution is better, right? And so FilmDove is an example of that. It's like we're trying to create an industry-specific solution that really solves the problem better than a generic solution could.
Yeah.
But the other thing to think about is FilmDove's building some incredible intellectual property that maybe could be used for other industries. And so as time plays on, we'll see. Maybe they'll do video management, analysis, distribution for other industries too. So you never know. Sometimes that's the fun part of startups is they pivot and they figure out, hey, maybe this tool can be used for a different industry even better, or as a secondary thing. So we'll see how it goes, and good luck to you.
During
Appreciate that.
During Brandon's freestyle, he mentioned that entrepreneurship will punch you in the face. So in Congress with today's mixtape card and heavyweight championship, there was a really well-known heavyweight champion, Mike Tyson, who once said, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
One of my favorite quotes of all time.
Right. And, that's the thing is you got to be ready. Look, I don't care how slick your moves are or how big and tall and powerful you are in the ring. You're getting punched in the face.
Yeah.
It's going to happen as an entrepreneur. And you mentioned over engineering and stuff like that. Get your shit moving forward, people.
Yeah.
Just like do something like Nike says it, just do it and start.
Yeah.
And don't worry about things being perfect because that fist is coming for your face.
Yep.
It is. And the plan's going to go out the window. So you're going to have to keep planning and replanning. And there's times to just kind of take the punch and keep moving. And there's times when you're like, whoa, I might not want to step into that next time. I know this is a lot of boxing analogies, seeing that we started the episode off with one of the world's greatest feats of athleticism that I've
Mama
ever
said
seen.
knock you out.
Yeah. But that's the thing is
Let's get it on.
We're going to record a mashup of that. That is actually like Mama said knock you out. Let's get it on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got the Marvin Gaye voice. Yeah. For those of you listening, but no,
it's Valentine's Day. You can use it today.
It's well, this will come out late. This was Valentine's Day for the listeners, but in regards to what you're doing is so much about Startup Hustle is about us just trying to tell you the truth and encourage the people that come in and share their stories to tell you the truth. If you've listened to multiple episodes, you should have picked up on the recurring theme that this shit ain't easy.
That's right.
And it's really not.
It's a hustle.
But that said, if you're prepared for that and you're ready to get in the ring and you're ready to fight it out, you're ready to get punched in the face, you're ready to swing back, then it might be for you. So you just got to figure that out and you got to figure out how to do it and what to say. You have something else to add, sir?
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, please.
I think, I use this term a lot with our team as being cerebral. You're going to meet a lot of different people. You're going to talk to a lot of folks trying to get your project out there and pitch your project. Not every investor is going to be the right one for you. Really try to fill people out and try to get to understand who they are. So before
I would imagine that was a challenge for what you're pitching because
Yeah.
I don't think everyone's going to get it.
Yeah, not everyone gets it in the very beginning, and and sometimes it's in the particular market that you're in as well. But what I would say is really understand the people that you're going to be doing business with. Understand that they. Do they align with your mission? The last thing you want to do is take money from someone and they don't align with your mission and they have other motives. And so this really, the key word I think is really important is to be cerebral, come outside of yourself. Look at situations from multiple angles to try to see who it is you're working with, who you're partnering with, because sometimes, you know, not everyone has your best interest at heart. And so that's just one thing I leave with.
Yeah, I want to, and as we close out here, I am going to invite you to come back because I think this is an interesting story. Wouldn't you like to kind of hear?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to see where the dove lands.
He flies high.
I could
He
do
flies
by
very
the way,
high.
I could do this all day, people.
He flies high.
As an entrepreneur, sometimes you fly too close to the sun.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, anyway, in the spirit of the dove, peace out. See you guys next time.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.